stands in the palm of our hands. It's our time.
Oh, take a seat to the greatest show you'll ever see. We've come so far, but the future is ours to decide what we need.
We've got to all come together.
Let's join our voice, it's now or never. We are the next generation to strive for a new day. This is our time, I know it now. This is the moment we have to decide. It's time to stand up and vow
To be what the world needs now.
this is our time. I know it now.
This is the moment we open our eyes.
If we can dare to believe, wake up to find this day.
This is our time.
يا هلا بالكل بحبكم نكمل.
نيتنا وهمتنا نجدد قصتنا ونكمل.
نتأمل والكون يلهمنا أن نعمل ونعيش اليوم الفكرة ونشوفها بكرة مستقبل.
ابدع لا تسأل عن أي حدود، قادر تتخيل بأفكارك جود.
هذا احنا جيل العالم موجود قدها وجدود. This is our time. This is the moment we have to decide.
It's time to stand up and
To
fight.
be what the world needs now. هذا وقتنا. This is our time.
بإبداع نعبر ونأثر ونغير. أفكار كثير تجمعنا.
وتزيد قوتنا محبتنا إرادتنا. هذا وقتنا. ابدع لا تسأل عن أي حدود.
قادر تتخيل بأفكارك جود.
We are the next generation to strive for a new day. This is our time. This is the moment we have to decide. It's time to stand up and vow
To be what the world needs now. هذا وقتنا.
This is our time.
نبدأ نعبر ونأثر ونغير.
أفكار كتير تجمعنا وتزيد قوتنا وحبتنا إرادتنا. This is our time.
Follow me. One voice, one family. The world as it stands in the palm of our hands. It's our time.
Oh, take a seat to the greatest show you'll ever see. We've come so far, but the future is ours to decide what we need.
We've got to all come together.
Let's join our voice, it's now or never. We are the next
نجدد قصتنا ونكمل.
نتأمل والكون يلهمنا أن نعمل ونعيش اليوم الفكرة ونشوفها بكرة مستقبل.
ابدع لا تسأل عن أي حدود، قادر تتخيل بأفكارك جود.
هذا احنا جيل العالم موجود قدها وجدود. This is our time. This is the moment we have to decide.
It's time to stand up and fight.
To be what the world needs now.
هذا وقتنا.
This is our time.
بإبداع نعبر ونأثر ونغير أفكار كثير تجمعنا.
وتزيد قوتنا محبتنا إرادتنا. هذا وقتنا. ابدع لا تسأل عن أي حدود.
قادر تتخيل بأفكارك جود.
We are the next generation to strive for a new day. This is our time. This is the moment we have to decide. It's time to stand up and fight.
To be what the world needs now. هذا وقتنا.
This is our time.
إبداع نعبر ونأثر ونغير.
أفكار كثير تجمعنا وتزيد قوتنا وحبتنا إرادتنا. This is our time.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today at the Expo Schools Forum. My name is Emma Chandler. I'm a member of the Expo School Programme team, and I'll be moderating the session this afternoon. This forum is an opportunity for all of us to mark an important transition from Journey to Expo 2020 to School Journeys at Expo 2020, and share the latest updates about the Expo site and everything we've done to ensure students have a safe and seamless journey. And of course, fun and memorable as well. Lastly, it's our chance to see some familiar faces and introduce you to some of the people who have helped bring Expo School Journeys to life. But first, a short trip down memory lane. On November 27th, 2013, during the General Assembly of the Bureau International des Expositions in Paris, Dubai was named as the host of Expo 2020. Wow, I actually still get goosebumps watching that video. It was such a historic moment for Dubai and the UAE, and I think one of those moments where many people can actually still remember where they were when they heard the announcement. I remember I was at the airport in Shanghai, which at that point was the last place to have hosted the Expo in 2010. So there was still very much a buzz around Expo. And so when the announcement came on the big screen in the airport, everybody stopped and paid attention. And since then, thousands of people have been working tirelessly to bring the vision of Expo 2020 to life. I think this picture really struck a chord with many of us. It's only when we see how far Expo 2020 has come that we start to understand the amount of work, time and dedication that has gone into bringing this event to life. While most of you are already familiar with Expo 2020, a meme making the rounds of social media last week reminded us that when it comes to mega events like Expo 2020, a little refresher is always helpful.
At Expo 2020 Dubai, you'll be part of the first World Expo in the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia region. It's important you all know about this inspiring mega event, of which we'll all be part of, so we can work together to deliver the exceptional expo that we have promised the world. Let's start by explaining World Expos. A World Exposition, or World Expo for short, is a large international platform where hundreds of countries from across the world showcase the best of their culture and achievements, and share ideas. At World Expos, people from different countries come together and explore solutions to problems we all face, such as the pressing need to preserve the environment for future generations. Now, let's learn a little bit about the history of World Expos. The first World Expo, called the Great Exhibition of the Works of Industry of All Nations, was held in London in 1851. Built for the event, the Crystal Palace was an architectural marvel of its time. The event provided an opportunity for countries across the world to showcase their inventions and innovations. It was the idea of Prince Albert, Queen Victoria's husband, who believed in the advancement of industry and human ingenuity by working together. The Great Exhibition proved to be a tremendous success, and many countries started to organize similar exhibitions. In 1928, the Bureau International de Exhibition was created to oversee the calendar, bidding process, and selection of all future expos across the globe. Now, every 5 years, countries bid to host the World Expo, to provide a global stage that showcases the best of design, architecture, culture, and technological innovation from around the world. Many innovations that play a key role in our daily lives and iconic buildings that have become world famous made their debut at a World Expo. One of the most famous examples is the Eiffel Tower in Paris, which was built as the entrance of Expo 1889 in Paris. The telephone, touchscreen, instant coffee, and even ice cream cones were all first revealed at an expo. Imagine what could be revealed next at Expo 2020 Dubai.
Everything around us reminds us of the role we've been playing in the journey to Expo 2020, in playing a part in history. And when it comes to schools, students have such a big role to play at Expo 2020, and especially through the Expo School programme. Today we'll take you through the different initiatives where your students will have the opportunity to shine, as well as the 4 incredible school journeys filled with immersive exhibits and inspiring experiences. While the Expo School programme team has been working tirelessly to provide you with all the updates from content to health and safety measures, today's forum will take you through the journeys from A to Z, covering everything from our exciting itineraries to school operations and a full health and safety overview. You'll also get the chance to ask us any questions you feel we haven't covered. And who better to bring you up to speed on the latest Expo 2020 news than our Chief Human Resources and Visitor Experience Officer, Marjan Faridouni.
Salam alaikum. Hello everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We really appreciate all the support you've shown the Expo School program over the years. Thanks to you, the journey ahead is promising and very exciting. Today I thought I'd start by sharing a picture with you. It's very special to me and my team. It reminds me of the moment the Expo School program was created. While working on the blueprints of Expo 2020, back when the site was empty and ready to be developed, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum always requested that we keep young learners in mind, not just as visitors, but as active participants. For His Highness, a World Expo is a space for innovation, for out-of-the-box thinking, and who better to engage with this platform than young minds, and where better than a World Expo, happening right here in Dubai for them to witness their classrooms come to life. This year, not only are we the first country in the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia region to ever host a World Expo, but we're also celebrating the UAE's Golden Jubilee, both truly proud moments for everyone who calls the UAE home. The last 2 years have been challenging, to say the least, but the resilience you have shown in adapting and overcoming obstacles is truly inspiring. We're counting on you to keep that momentum going by ensuring students are part of this historic event. Expo 2020 is a platform that empowers the young learners of today to become the leaders of tomorrow. It's about showing them how great things happen through collaboration, how together we can face challenges, find solutions, and create wonderful experiences, just like the school journeys that the Expo School Program team have developed exclusively for students across the UAE. My colleagues will be taking you through the 4 incredible journeys in detail shortly, but I know for a fact that a lot of thinking has gone into designing these journeys, into making them immersive and engaging, and most of all, inspiring for children and young learners. The same holds true for the entire Expo 2020 experience. We wanted to make sure that visits to Expo are safe and seamless, yet fun and memorable. We have conducted trials and successfully implemented all the safety and health measures required by government authorities, along with enhanced measures for Expo school journeys, like dedicated lunch spots, earlier timings for school journeys, and different combinations of journeys to avoid overcrowding. All this was achieved with the unwavering support of the UAE's educational authorities. Basically, everyone has come together to ensure students remember their trips to Expo 2020 as the school trip of a lifetime. Which brings us to the aim of this forum. We've done our part. We've set the stage, made sure everything is in place, doubled up on health and safety and security, and designed engaging content and unique experiences. There is so much to see and even more to learn for students at Expo 2020, and the only way for them to experience that is if you and your school coordinators start booking the free school journeys through our dedicated booking system. I can't stress how important it is to book your journeys as early as possible, even if you're not planning on being the first to visit Expo 2020 Dubai, or even if you'd rather wait and watch, which the last 2 years have drilled into us. I urge you to plan ahead and start booking your journeys now. This will help us as organizers anticipate numbers and plan ahead from our side too. But more importantly, it will guarantee that every child in the UAE will be able to look back on this day and say, I was there at Expo 2020 Dubai. Thank you again, and I hope to bump into you on site very soon.
Thank you, Marjan, for the inspiring welcome. I don't know about you, but I'm truly excited to be part of the upcoming celebrations. It's not every day that we get to host a World Expo while celebrating our Golden Jubilee. And the most important part is that we're celebrating all these special moments together. Before I introduce our next guest speaker, on behalf of the Expo School Programme team, I would like to thank the UAE's educational authorities, the Knowledge and Human Development Authority, Sharjah Private Education Authority, and the Abu Dhabi Department of Education and Knowledge for their ongoing support of the Expo School Programme team and for joining us today at the Expo Schools Forum. Our next guest speaker needs no introduction. You are all familiar with the wonderful work the KHDA has been doing under his leadership in keeping our schools and students safe and healthy. Please join me in welcoming His Excellency Dr. Abdullah Al-Karam, Chairman of the Board of Directors and Director General of the Knowledge and Human Development Authority.
Welcome to Dubai Expo. We don't always have the gift of foresight in life, but today we do. We are about to have an experience that will stay with us for many years to come. We'll look back at this experience and think about how lucky we were to be in such a special place at such a special time. In just few days, more than 190 countries will be gathered in Dubai to show the world the best of what they do. But Expo is not only about bringing the best from all around the world, it's also about bringing out the best from within Dubai. It's about welcoming our education community and giving them an experience that will be educationally transformative and, above all, fun. You have recently received an email from us with details how to register for a free schools trip to Expo. The Expo team has been working hard to design special visits for students of all ages. They are ready to offer the students and the teacher the experience of a lifetime. Each person who visits Expo will take away something different from the experience. It could be something big, like being inspired by new ideas, or it could be something small, like sharing a laugh with someone new. A visit to Dubai Expo is about the possibilities that can happen when people come together. Possibilities of learning, possibilities for connecting, and possibilities for having fun. We want to see all of these possibilities through your eyes and through the eyes of your students and teachers. During your school visit to Dubai Expo, please ask your students and teacher to post their photo to the social media using the hashtag XPossibilities. We will then use those photos to create something special for all the schools in Dubai. You will be amazed at what you see at Expo, and our community will be amazed to see what you see.
It is now my pleasure to welcome our next guest speaker, Her Excellency Dr. Muhadatha Al Hashimi, Chairperson of the Sharjah Private Education Authority.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A very good evening to all our educators and school leaders who have joined us today. It is my honor to welcome you to the Expo School Forum, Expo 2020, an event that we've been all waiting for, an event that's going to give our students and children a very challenging experience, an event that we would like to encourage you all to look forward and make sure that our students attend. This is an event that will bring the world to the classroom. This is an event that will ensure that our students have a learning experience that they've never had before. So I'm here to welcome you for today's forum, so that you understand what is Expo 2020, what are the offerings for the schools, and you will take back all the messages to our students and get them all excited. We look forward to seeing you at the Expo 2020 event. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. It's truly inspiring to see how our shared values have allowed us to come together again and welcome our students back into classrooms. We can't wait to see what they'll think of the mesmerising exhibits they'll discover when they finally get to go on a school trip after such a long time. It will truly be the school trip of a lifetime. And now I would like to introduce you to the Vice President of the Expo School Programme and to the lady who has been there all along, making sure that schools and students join in the making of the new world. Please join me in welcoming Alia Al-Ali.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. Let me first start by saying that all of us here at the Expo School Program are very grateful for your continued support. Many of you have been attending these sessions for a few years now, and you're used to us showing you renders of what the site will look like. Today, I'm happy to say that during this session, you will be seeing real footage and images from the Expo 2020 site. And inshallah, in less than 10 days, we will be welcoming you all here at Expo 2020 Dubai. From day one, when the countdown to Expo 2020 began, we've been fully committed to ensuring students across the UAE will not only have access to Expo 2020, but more importantly, they will play a role in shaping Expo 2020's legacy. Young people, and especially school students, have been at the heart of Expo 2020. They're in the design of the journeys, in the knowledge that is being shared. They are there as active participants, as speakers, performers, and innovators. To think that Expo 2020 will be the first school trip your students will be taking part in such a long time, it makes their visits so much more special, and it puts a little more pressure on us to deliver the most incredible journeys. We are fully aware of the educational value that events such as World Expos have had historically. They have inspired generations. They've sparked important conversations and led to the advancement of humankind. Through our 4 incredible journeys, we are confident that we will be adding unique educational value to every student's educational journey. A few of your students had the opportunity to visit Terra, the Sustainability Pavilion. Their feedback alone, the excitement they shared, the fact that they remembered exhibits long after they had left, and the reassurance that they would love to visit again, truly motivated us as a team and pushed us forward, despite the challenges and uncertainties we faced along the way. But seeing children visit Terra was an incredible opportunity for us to test our capabilities and learn from our experiences. But they were also very valuable moments for us, the Expo School Program team, as we were reminded of the reason we started building these school journeys in the first place. We know that every school trip begins long before students reach the destination. That's why we've put a lot of thought not only into the content that students will interact with inside the pavilions, but also into getting them ready for their visit and ensuring the journey to and within the Expo site is safe, smooth, and nothing less than extraordinary. For all these reasons, we have designed a dedicated booking system to facilitate booking the free journeys and to ensure all students come to visit us at least once. After all, we'd like nothing more than getting their feedback post their visit and knowing that they would like to come back over and over again to Expo 2020. On that note, I thank you again for being with us today and for joining forces with us to ensure that Expo 2020 does not remain a mere idea in students' minds. Together, I am certain that we will make this once-in-a-lifetime field trip an experience that will forever mark their minds as well as their hearts. The Expo School Program team and myself look forward to welcoming you all at Expo 2020 Dubai.
Thank you, Alia. From what we're about to see, I am certain all our visitors will want to visit Expo 2020 over and over again, and we'll be happy to welcome them with the same excitement and enthusiasm every time. The Expo School Programme was created to engage with the educational community across the UAE, and the programme's school journeys are definitely the key highlights of the programme. But there's so much more to the Expo School Programme than meets the eye. I'm talking about our range of initiatives that have allowed students from across the nation to showcase their talent, their creativity, and most of all, their passion in making the world a better place. So many wonderful initiatives and opportunities for students to shine, whether on the spectacular Al Wasl stage, where they'll get to perform as part of Expo Young Stars, at the Expo Young Innovators exhibit, which celebrates young students' creativity and innovation, through Nasheed Al Wasl, or the enriching conversations of the Next Gen World Majlis. But the Expo School Programme's initiatives are not the only thing that is exclusive for students at Expo 2020. The Expo School Journeys have been designed for students and are reserved just for them. And of course, you'll be able to experience Expo 2020 through truly unique itineraries. If anyone knows the ins and outs of these journeys, it's my colleague, Huda Ramadan, manager of the Expo School Programme.
Hello everyone, It's wonderful to see many familiar faces, or should I say names today, along with so many new ones too. As my colleague Emma so kindly mentioned, the team and I have been talking about our 4 incredible journeys for quite some time now. And we really feel that today, while we might still do the major part of the talking, I'm also going to let the journeys speak for themselves, or at least show you trailers of these exciting learning adventures you and your students can expect when you visit Expo 2020 Dubai. But first, let me ask, why Expo School Journeys? Well, because it's not every day that we get the opportunity to design and cater a historic experience to maximize learning, entertainment, interactivity, and inspiration all together. But I think this video here sums it up nicely too. These journeys never cease to amaze me. I have gone over them many, many times, and yet I can still confidently say that I'm always finding something new about them. I mean, just imagine over 190 countries coming together to showcase the best of technology, culture, and innovation. And not to mention that each country and its participants' architecture is also being showcased, making Expo 2020 Dubai the most beautiful and inspiring gathering place for the world. Now, to give you a better idea of what I'm talking about, this is the Expo 2020 site map. As you can see here, each of these petals is a district representing one of Expo's 3 sub-themes: mobility, opportunity, and sustainability. At the Expo School program, we focus on introducing these sub-themes to students through curated physical journeys across those 3 different districts. Students coming in school groups will also get to experience the legacy of the UAE, which is a journey that takes them through various pavilions celebrating the legacy and future of the UAE, offering them a full picture of the nation's culture, heritage, and plans for the future. So through each one of these journeys, and depending on their age group, students will get to experience different pavilions within each of these districts. So let's briefly take a look at what a field trip to Expo 2020 will look like for your students, from the moment they enter the site until they leave, to help us get a better idea of how they will enter the different districts and what is inside these pavilions and what inspiring experiences they're going to encounter. From the moment students arrive at any of Expo 2020's 3 spellbinding portals designed by Asif Khan, the architectural marvel of the gateways, doors spanning 21 meters in height, will mark their transition into the new world. Inspired by the Arab Mashrubiya, these transitional points are made of thousands of ultra-thin carbon fibers, created through a 3D weaving process, making them surprisingly ultra-light that it only takes one person to open the doors of Expo 2020 to the world. But this experience isn't about beautiful buildings and sophisticated infrastructure. It's about changing mindsets and finding new and better ways of doing things, which brings us now to the Mobility District. So let's take a sneak peek at our very first Expo School journey, World in Motion. As you can see, students will get to ride the largest passenger lift in the world, which is capable of carrying 168 people at one time, but is currently only allowing a limited number of passengers due to our social distancing measures. But similar to that metaphorical transition which occurs when walking through the gates of Expo 2020 Dubai, the elevator ride itself is also a symbolic journey back in time, where students will come face to face with the larger-than-life, 9-meter-tall giants of mobility, whose innovations helped navigate the world and pave the way for the technology we use today. And next, a journey through space, specifically from the days of the desert exploration all the way to mission to Mars, where we can see just how far humanity has come and how mobility continues to shape the way we live and connect with people from all over the world. The Mobility District's different experiences actually emphasize the importance of our interconnectedness by creating smarter and more productive ways to facilitate the movement of people, goods, and ideas. And as part of this journey, students over grade 1 will also get to visit 1 or 2 different country pavilions, such as Australia, Russia, the Republic of Korea, or even Serbia. And each and every one of these pavilions has something truly unique to offer and add to your student's journey. So let's take a quick look at what's in store. In a nutshell, apart from being exciting and inspiring exhibits, these immersive experiences of the mobility journey offer students the chance to explore the movement of people, goods, and ideas within the physical and technological realms, or to venture across our dynamic world and actually experience that human spirit of adventure and exploration that links our past, our present, and our future. And last, but certainly not least, to allow them to reflect on the ways through which our people, goods, and ideas move, and what this all means for a smarter, prosperous, and happier future for everyone. As you can see, with all these different journeys and all these experiences, we are actually connecting minds and creating the future for students at Expo 2020, which now brings us to that sustainability district, where we look at real-life solutions to real-world problems. At Terra, the Sustainability Pavilion, students will be inspired to take action and contribute to preserving our planet. But before we get into that in more detail, here's a sneak peek of what you can expect to see when you go on the Sustainable Planet journey. The main thematic sustainability pavilion structure is actually inspired by complex natural processes like photosynthesis and biomimicry, which is allowing the building to capture, store, and use energy from sunlight. And even the beautiful plants and trees within this pavilion actually provide shaded canopies to help keep the pavilion cool, with solar panels from energy trees that help generate enough energy to charge more than 900,000 mobile phones per year. And within this pavilion, students embark on a journey to connect with the wonder of the natural world, either under the ocean or through the root systems of a forest. And across all of our 4 journeys, as we mentioned before, students will get the opportunity to visit 1 or 2 country pavilions within that district. And in the case of the Sustainable Planet journey, students might get to visit the pavilions of Singapore, Germany, the Czech Republic, or even New Zealand. So now let's take a sneak peek at one of those countries together. different experiences are a balanced combination of engagement and entertainment for students, while offering them very concrete learning opportunities to actually explore the hidden treasures of our natural world and see humanity's impact on the environment, or to discover how to apply innovative technologies and creative ideas to help people and planet thrive in harmony, and even to reflect on how our own individual choices can rebalance the earth around us to generate a sustainable future for all species. These are choices that allow our planet to heal while simultaneously empowering people to move forward, which brings us to our final sub-theme of opportunity. Now let's begin our World of Opportunity journey with our first of two main pavilions, which is Mission Possible, the Opportunity Pavilion, with a short trailer. Being 1 in 8 billion, we may think that the actions of one person will not make a difference in the world. But Mission Possible, the Opportunity Pavilion, is where students become positive agents of change. How they have the power through those small actions to make a big impact on their communities, and as a result, on the world. Students will embark on an interactive journey with 3 inspiring individuals from different parts of the globe. They will listen to their stories, the challenges they faced, and how they found solutions to bring food, water, and energy to their communities. And through their interconnectedness around the planet, students are also introduced to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs as most of you know them, allowing them to help in the universal call to action to end poverty and protect our planet by 2030. Now, while some students will visit Mission Possible, the Opportunity Pavilion, other students will get to visit the DP World, where they will go on an exciting interactive journey and understand how what they buy online actually makes it to the front door in just a few days with the power of flow. So let's take a closer look at DP World and the power of flow. Through the World of Opportunities, students will get the chance to visit 1 or 2 of our international pavilions, including Saudi Arabia, United Kingdom, United States of America, or even India. But whichever journey itinerary your students take in the World of Opportunities, they are certain to have plenty of fun and plenty of learning opportunities along the way to help them explore the power of individual actions, which generate well-being, prosperity, and happiness in communities around the world. They'll get to take a sneak peek into the future of opportunities through an exploration of resources that are fundamental to our own human development, and also to allow them to reflect on our individual actions and think about how we can become positive agents of change in our communities and beyond. So regardless of your school's curriculum, I'm certain you'll agree that these learning objectives for students will truly empower them, not only in their academic paths, but in their lives as active citizens, no matter where they are in the world. But for now, let's stay here in the UAE as I take you through our 4th journey, which is the legacy of the UAE. And this journey takes students across different pavilions to discover the UAE's rich history, vibrant culture, and ambitious future, all driven by the vision of its leaders. Many of you might be familiar with the UAE Pavilion, shaped like a falcon in flight. But what you might not know is that the legacy of the UAE journey actually now includes many participating pavilions, which students, depending on their age group, will get to explore. So this now includes the opportunity to visit the Good Place Pavilion by Expo Live, where students will be inspired by current social innovators from around the world, and where they will also discover that innovation can come from anywhere and benefit everyone. The other pavilions added now to this journey actually include the Dubai Carers Pavilion, Emirates Airlines, and the Enoch Pavilion, Desert Farm, as well as the Women's Pavilion by Cartier. Now let's take a look at one of our very exciting pavilions within this journey.
Welcome to the future of commercial aviation. Explore tomorrow's aircraft technology. Immerse yourself in a futuristic onboard experience. Discover technologies to power greener skies and see beyond the limits of today to the possibilities of tomorrow. Let us inspire you at the Emirates Pavilion, Expo 2020, Dubai.
Through these different pavilions and engaging experiences, students will get the chance to explore the UAE from its distant past to its visionary future, and from traditional settlements to modern metropolises. It'll allow them to discover the UAE's rich history, its vibrant culture, and its ambitious future we spoke about, which is driven by the vision of its leaders. And also to reflect on the importance of unity, collaboration, and innovation in its accelerated progress of an ambitious nation. Through all four journeys, Expo 2020 aspires to create a meaningful legacy that will benefit generations to come, both locally and globally, spanning everything from those innovations in architecture to educational opportunities for students, so that they can be inspired and empowered to create a better future. And now that I have taken you through all of these four incredible journeys, you might be wondering how you and your students can take part. Well, the Expo School program has designed a dedicated booking system for schools, which allow their school coordinators to plan and book the slots that are most suitable for you and your students. And I'll take you through these simple steps very shortly, but first I actually want to end our journeys talk with an exciting addition to our offerings, one that will allow you to begin your students' journey long before they actually get on the bus to Expo 2020 Dubai. It's my pleasure today to give you a sneak preview of the Expo Virtual Explorations. But before we watch the video together, I would like to thank you again, and I'm going to see you shortly to go through those booking steps.
one voice, one family. The world as it stands in the palm of our hands, it's our time.
Oh, take a seat to the greatest show you'll ever see. We've come so far, but the future is ours to decide what we need.
We've got to all come together.
Let's join our voice, it's now or never. We are the next generation to strive for a new day. This is our time. This is the moment we have to decide. It's time to stand up and vow
To be what the world needs now.
this is our time.
This is the moment we open our eyes.
If we can dare to believe, wake up to find this day.
This is our time.
يا هلا بالكل بحبكم نكمل.
نيتنا وهمتنا نجدد قصتنا ونكمل.
نتأمل والكون يلهمنا أن نعمل ونعيش اليوم الفكرة ونشوفها بكرة مستقبل.
ابدع لا تسأل عن أي حدود، قادر تتخيل بأفكارك جود.
هذا احنا جيل العالم موجود قدها وجدود. This is our time. This is the moment we have to decide.
It's time to stand up and vow
To be what the world needs now.
هذا وقتنا.
This is our time.
بإبداع نعبر ونأثر ونغير أفكار كثير تجمعنا.
وتزيد قوتنا محبتنا إرادتنا. هذا وقتنا. ابدع لا تسأل عن أي حدود.
قادر تتخيل بأفكارك جود.
We are the next generation to strive for a new day. This is our time. This is the moment we have to decide. It's time to stand up and vow to be what the world needs now.
هذا وقتنا.
This is our time.
إبداع نعبر ونأثر ونغير.
أفكار كتير تجمعنا وتزيد قوتنا وحبتنا إرادتنا. This is our time.
I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but between the trailer and the Expo song, I'm all set for Expo 2020. In case you have any questions regarding our previous segments or the upcoming ones, I invite you to type into the chat box on the side, so the team can provide you with all the information during our Q&A session. I know many of you are still uncertain about what our school journeys will look like for students, but Sarah Raffiola, our Head of School Operations, is joining us today to give you a clearer picture of what you can expect.
A large number of operational teams at Expo work together to ensure that your students' visits are safe and seamless across the Expo site. All school groups that are arriving to the Expo site will have a tour guide that is dedicated to taking them across the site. They will also receive complimentary tickets for accompanying adults. We can have between 2 to 4 adults per school group. The school groups will also be receiving lanyards for the purpose of identification in case of lost children or staff members. They will also receive express entry into the different Expo pavilions across the site. As part of the school ticket, they will also be entitled to having rest areas for the school bus drivers, as buses are not allowed to leave the Expo site while the groups are on their journeys. Every single bit of your student's journey has been curated very carefully to make it a pleasant experience for all age groups. Journeys are between 2.5 to 4 hours depending on the age groups. And each student journey has 5 key touch points that all groups will experience. The very first touch point is the arrival of the school groups. We then have a visit to the thematic pavilion. We have a country pavilion. The schools then have a lunch break. And finally, there is a seamless departure process in place. So let's start with arrival. School buses will be arriving in 3 different areas based on the journey that they have selected for the day. Once your school makes a booking for a particular journey, they'll then receive a QR code with the directions to the specific entrance that they're supposed to arrive at. This is to ensure that your students are dropped off at the entrances that are closest to their journey points for the day. Once the school bus arrives to the right entrance, the bus is then directed to a holding area where their tour guide is waiting for them to welcome the students. The tour guide will get onto the school bus and hand out a pre-packed envelope with colored lanyards to your staff. Your staff will then be requested to hand these out to the students. Each lanyard will have the date of the visit as well as the number of the tour guide to help reunite any lost students or staff with their tour guides. The bus will then move from the holding area to a drop-off area to drop the students off at the Expo entrance. Several traffic marshals, security team members, and barricades will be in place to ensure that your students are very safe. The younger students will be dropped off at the closest bus space to the entrance of the Expo. And students will enter the Expo site whereby they'll get to visit the different pavilions, where their buses will then be directed to a dedicated school bus parking area. School groups will have the opportunity to use the restrooms in our arrival plazas before heading to our PSAs or our personal screening areas to enter the Expo site. The entire Expo site is a secure site, which means that all visitors are screened before entering. Groups will then be directed to our thematic pavilion. Once the students enter the Expo site through the PSAs, they will walk over to our amazing thematic pavilions. Students will embark on an immersive experience, merging education, entertainment, and excitement as they explore our thematic and Expo-owned pavilions. This experience will be for roughly 30 to 45 minutes for all the visiting school groups. The next stop after our thematic pavilion will be one of the country pavilions, where students will enjoy the immersive cultural experience and discover what makes each and every country unique. They explore a country pavilion as per the journey they choose, suitable for their age group. The country pavilions for the different age groups are chosen carefully, keeping content relevance and walking distance at mind. Each country pavilion experience would be around 20 to 30 minutes in duration. Now, to ensure that the duration of the kindergarten student journeys are kept short, the KG students will not be visiting a country pavilion. The Cycle 1 students will visit just one country pavilion, whereas the older students, the Cycle 2 and Cycle 3, could end up visiting up to 2 country pavilions as part of their journey. The last stop before the students leave the Expo site will be for lunch. So all students will have the opportunity to have a snack or lunch within dedicated eating areas, and they may also experience some programming and entertainment at different touch points within their journey. And finally, once the group is ready to leave, the school bus is called from the parking area by our transport team, and they will be waiting outside at our bus bays for the school groups that are ready to leave.
Thank you, Sarah. That sounds like a truly safe and seamless journey. Please remember to type in your questions in the chat box on the side. And now over to Rob Cooling, the Operational Head of Health and Safety Operations, who will offer an overview about the latest health and safety measures implemented across the site.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. Health and safety has always been a priority for Expo 2020, right throughout the planning, design and construction of our site, and we are committed to maintain our standards as we now get ready to open our gates to the world and welcome your students safely. Our approach to health and safety has been underpinned by our Better Together strategy. This embraces a partnership approach to health and safety, working closely with all of the organisations involved in supporting our event. We have 3 core values that sit behind our strategy. These include care, a commitment to send everyone home in a safe and healthy condition every day. Also respect for our people, respect for the environment, and finally pride, a commitment to deliver excellence. We have developed a robust framework of health and safety requirements that includes our HSC policy authorised by Her Excellency Reem Al Hashimi, which sets out our management commitment to health and safety. We also have a very detailed set of health and safety assurance standards. These set out the requirements that will apply to our event time operations and ensure that all of our visitors, workforce and guest groups are looked after. Health and safety has been integrated into the design of our site. However, our teams are out on the ground and are regularly undertaking walkthroughs of the different venues and pavilions with a particular focus on the safety of children to make sure that these venues and spaces are safe. We've also given very close attention to traffic safety, and we've established dedicated pick-up points and drop-off areas, and to make sure that there's effective monitoring of pedestrian movements around these locations. In the event of any medical incident, we have dedicated teams from Dubai Corporation for Ambulance Services that can provide emergency aid where needed. We also have a world-class 24/7 emergency aid centre located on our site that is operated by Dubai Health Authority. We know that there are concerns that remain related to COVID-19, but I would like to give you our assurance that the UAE, Dubai and Expo is ready to safely host this event. We have worked extremely closely with key stakeholders to develop a comprehensive set of guidelines for our event. These robust measures will ensure the protection of all our workforce. That includes our Expo staff, our volunteers, our contractors, service providers, and of course all our important guest groups and your students. You would have heard the recent update regarding visitor vaccination and testing, and that we are now requiring mandatory vaccination or a negative PCR test for any visitors who attend the Expo. We're also mandating that all our workforce are vaccinated, and a range of other public health measures will be implemented across the site. These include 2 meters social distancing across all areas, mandatory wearing of masks at both indoor and outdoor venues, the implementation of comprehensive cleaning and sanitisation programmes that will focus on high touch points. We will also have hand sanitizer units positioned throughout the sites. And our team is trained to make sure that we are reinforcing safe behaviours from our visitors and from our workforce. But we need your support as well. We expect you to lead by example and provide us the support in implementing all of our HSC and COVID-19 requirements. Of course, our team is here to support. We look forward to welcoming you safely to our site. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob, for all the information and reassurance. I'm certain many of our attendees feel more confident visiting Expo 2020 Dubai with their students. And now for our final segment before the Q&A, we'll take you through the 5 steps you need to get your students to Expo 2020.
So welcome back, everybody. Now that you've had a sneak preview of our incredible journeys and an overview of what your students' field trips to Expo 2020 will look like, and you've heard all about our health and safety measures, so what comes next? Of course, the most important part, booking your journeys, of course. Now, we all know that a lot of work, time, and energy goes into planning, organizing, and finally enjoying your school trips. And that's why we've created our 5 steps to Expo 2020. It's there to make the task of getting your students and staff safely and smoothly to the Expo 2020 site. We're going to have a Q&A session shortly after this, and you'll be able to share all of your questions with us. So let's start going through the 5 steps to Expo 2020 together. Now, your journey to Expo 2020 begins with your school coordinators. They will be your school's main point of contact for the Expo School Program team, and they are the ones that are going to handle all the bookings and confirmations of your school trips on the booking system. Your coordinators will also ensure that your school group sizes and ratios and all of those guidelines adhere to what Expo 2020 has requested. So for this reason, we recommend that each school has a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 6 coordinators to efficiently handle all of those bookings. Once you have selected your coordinators, they're going to each one of them sign up on our website with their details, and they're going to go through a verification process where we confirm all the details you have sent us, and we confirm everything with the principal of your school as well. Once you've completed that, you're going to receive a username and password from Expo 2020, which you will use for booking your school trips on the website. And always remember that the earlier you register the school coordinators, the earlier you can choose the booking times and dates that you prefer. So get those coordinators registered early. Now, next up, we're going to start planning ahead with your coordinators. And so once your coordinators have completed the process, they're going to receive a coordinator kit, and this will help them start their planning. This kit actually includes a coordinator planner that we have created, which they can use as a reference guide. Any questions they may have, any aspects of the journeys that they're concerned with, they'll find their answers in this planner. They'll also receive 4 journey packs, which they can share and discuss with the teachers in order to facilitate planning for different aspects of the curriculum or different age groups. They're very beautiful packs that have lots of visuals about the different journeys and information that teachers find very useful. Now, we also host regular coordinator sessions where we go through important details outlined in the planner, and coordinators have found these really useful to also bring in any questions or concerns they may have, and the whole team is there to support them during these coordinator sessions. So we have 2 coming up over the next 2 weeks, and then as we host more, we will inform the coordinators. We also do record these, so coordinators who may have not been able to attend the session will receive a copy of the recording. Now, this brings us to our next step. Now that you've planned your visits to Expo 2020, the coordinators can log in to our booking system and begin booking your journeys on the dates that you wish to visit. So when booking your groups, you're going to be required to enter the class name, and then you're going to be required to put in the grade or year group, along with the total number of students and the number of accompanying adults. This is also where you're going to indicate the number of students of determination and if your group requires any wheelchairs once you arrive at the Expo 2020 site. So all of this information that you see here can be changed with the exception of the grade at any time until you confirm your tickets. So this is considered to be a reservation until you confirm. Should you wish to issue your tickets immediately, you can also confirm right away after you've made your reservation. However, this means that you're not going to be able to change any details again without fully canceling your booking and rescheduling it. So if you want your tickets right away, you can just confirm. If you're still uncertain with your numbers and the details, then you can just put this in as a reservation, which is what we recommend. Now, once you've made those reservations, you can inform your parents and make sure that they've all signed a waiver form for their school trip. Now, we at Expo 2020 have actually provided the coordinators with a copy of this form. Schools are welcome to use their own, but it has to include all the same information that's in the Expo 2020 waiver form. This is for the school's reference, so you need to keep it in your files. Once you've confirmed your student numbers, then on the booking system, you will click on Confirm. You can do this up to 15 days before you visit, and this is what will then release your tickets, as well as your welcome pack, which includes the tickets, as well as your entry for the bus with a QR code. And this is where you now need to print your QR codes. So once you get to this point, once you receive your welcome pack, you're going to receive directions to come to Expo. You're going to receive all of your tickets, and you're also going to receive the unique bus QR code, which needs to be printed and displayed on the bus, as Sarah mentioned earlier. This is how you're going to be accessing the Expo 2020 site, and it's very important to avoid any delays or cancellations. So I'm not going to go into any more technicalities at this time. The coordinators will be able to find all the answers to all the questions in our coordinator planner. But of course, if anyone faces any issues at any time, you can always reach out to us directly, and we'll be more than happy to assist them in ensuring that all the students get to experience Expo 2020 Dubai and be part of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So this brings us now to the end of our booking session. And for more information or for registering, you can go straight to our website, which is schools.expo2020dubai.com, or you can get in touch with us via email or phone at any time. So our Q&A is up next, and I will see you shortly there.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us today. I leave the floor to my colleagues to answer your questions. We look forward to welcoming you all at Expo 2020 Dubai very soon.
Hello again, everyone. This is Emma speaking, and it's now time for our Q&A session. So answering our questions today, we have Sarah Rafiola, Head of School Operations, and from Expo School Programme, we have Huda Ramadan here to answer any questions you might have, as well as Kavisha Pancholi, who will be answering any questions to do with tickets or any problems you might have regarding booking or anything along those lines. So let's get started with the first question. As this is a school trip, we would normally do a full risk assessment. Is there any possibility that teachers can come to the site before the trip to carry out a risk assessment? And we've had a few questions along this line.
Lots of questions about risk assessment. Thank you, Emma. I'm going to answer two parts to this question because I did see a few more asking about a copy of the risk assessment. So the teachers will not be allowed on site through our trips, previous to the school trips. You're always welcome to come on site at any time with your families. We are looking at different options for educators, but at this time, nothing has been confirmed. In terms of the risk assessment from Expo, we have requested a full update since the site is now complete. And so that should be ready at any minute now, and it will be shared with all of your coordinators as soon as it's ready to go. And that will be shared directly. So all your coordinators and all your principals will receive the updated risk assessment. Emma, next question, thank you.
Thank you, Huda. During the schedule visit, will each group visit just one pavilion, or can we book multiple pavilions during the same visit? And Kavisha, can I hand that question over to you?
So we are curating the journey. So we, based on the journey that you have selected, based on the age group, we have worked very closely with countries and understood what their content looks like, and is it suitable for the age groups? Is it matching the learning objectives? And based on all that information, walking distances, we've collected all of this information and we have created journeys. So based on that, there is a dedicated pavilion that you would be going to. There is our thematic pavilion that you would be going to. So this is something that we are doing from our side and making a very nice journey for you.
Thank you, Kavisha. And Sarah, will there be availability of food and drinks for students on site, or should we bring food with us for the students?
That all school groups are bringing their own lunch to the Expo site. This will not only ensure that your journey is a quick one, that you don't have to wait in long queues at our F&B outlets, but also that your students are taken care of in case there are any allergies that some of your students may have. So the recommendation from our end is for all students to bring their own meals when they come on their journeys to Expo.
Thank you, Sarah. And next question is, we actually registered almost 2 years ago, but when we tried to rebook our journeys, our Expo coordinator logins are no longer working. Do we need to re-register for Expo 2020 school journey bookings? And I think that's a Kavisha question.
Emma. So, yes, you may have registered last year, but because of the change in the dates, the old bookings, the old credentials are no longer valid, which is why we ask you to re-register. We will have a verification process, as my colleague Huda mentioned. And based on that, we will send you new login details, a new username, and a password. So please re-register.
Next question is a teacher who's wondering if the 3.5 hour journey includes the time it takes to return to the buses. So is that from the second the students get off the bus and right up until they step back onto the bus? And Sarah, maybe you can take that one for us.
Sorry, Emma, I think I had a little bit of an audio issue. If you could repeat the question, please.
Yeah, no problem. A teacher's wondering if the 3.5 hour journey includes the time that it will take the school group to get back to the bus before departure.
Okay, thank you very much. So yes, we have planned the journey in a way that the 3.5 hours takes into account the students being dropped off from the buses and then all the way until they get back onto the buses. From a transport perspective, we have planned out in a lot of detail a bus parking, drop-off and pickup plan. And inshallah, we're hoping that within the 3.5 hours, you should be able to finish the full journey.
Great, thank you, Sarah. Another teacher who's saying, I'm very much looking forward to viewing our students' models at the Expo Innovators exhibit. Is this only open to those who book visits at the Sustainability Pavilion? And I think that might be another Sarah question.
That's an excellent question. So the Expo Young Innovators exhibition is one of the amazing exhibitions at Expo, and it is going to be completely open to public visitors as well. So if you book the Sustainable Planet Journey, then your students and your school groups may get a chance to visit that exhibition as part of the Terra Pavilion. However, they are also able to come in at other times with their families to come and see the exhibition. So it's completely open to public.
Many participants today have enjoyed the various videos that we've shared, and one teacher is wondering if we could possibly share some of the promotional material with the school so that they can show parents and colleagues to get them feeling more excited about the school visits. Huda, is that possible?
We've got lots of promotional videos on our, that's a very good question actually. We've got lots of promotional videos on our social media, so we highly recommend following our Instagram where all of these videos have been released. There are a few videos we showed today that are still private. This is a closed. We've promised you a sneak peek at everything. So there's lots of videos. So if you don't find it on there, then we're not allowed to share it. Everything that's shareable though is on our social media, and we highly recommend having your parents follow them as well, as they will also get they'll get to see any new videos that we post as well. So we've just posted new videos about all our journeys as well, which we didn't play here because these were quite more detailed, but lots of information is available there. If there's anything in particular you're looking for, you're always welcome to contact us, drop us an email, and we can always share some more information and gather that for you. If there's something very specific you want, we know some schools might have activities or things that they're doing. Also, another really good resource, before I forget, is actually on the website. You'll find there's a whole section called Classroom Resources, which has a lot of downloadable material that you can use with your students or that you can use with your parents as well.
Thank you, Huda. Another question that we've had quite a lot this afternoon is regarding schools in Abu Dhabi that would like to come and visit Expo on a school trip, asking questions about whether or not this is now allowed, and if ADEC have made any announcement about allowing these school trips to Expo. So Huda, can you give us any information on that, please?
So we are working very closely with ADEC. I'm sure many of you have received communications from ADEC about Expo 2020 school trips. So we highly recommend for schools to actually register and start the booking process to guarantee the time slots and the dates that you want, while you guys and ourselves, await the ADEC approvals. So they're working very closely with us to get those approvals for school trips, but we don't want you to be stuck with all the 8:30 a.m. time slots because you didn't manage to book it in. So we highly recommend you at least get all your bookings in as soon as possible, so that you get your preferred dates and time slots for your trips. And hopefully they'll announce something soon.
Thank you. Do all students registered to come on a school trip need to come by school bus, or can some of them make their own way there, for example, come with parents in their own transport? And Sarah, can I hand that question over to you?
Thank you very much, Emma. That's also a very good question. Again, we do mandate that all school students come within their school buses. The main reason for this is we've got a very intricate transportation plan specifically for school buses. Now, in order for you to get into the Expo site without any issues, in order for you to be able to go and park in the school bus parking areas, to drop students off in a dedicated area that is safe from any hazards, from traffic, we do need your students to come as part of the school group in a school bus. Thanks, Emma.
Thank you. And Kavisha, somebody is asking whether tickets can be changed once they've already been booked. For example, somebody has booked some tickets for grade 10, but instead they'd like to bring grade 9. Do they have to cancel and rebook, or is there another way to go about this?
Thank you, Emma. So if your booking is still in reservation mode, then you have the liberty of editing the booking yourself. However, if the booking has been confirmed and tickets have been released, then you can just email us the details, such as your order ID and the journey that you have booked for, and we will make this change from our side.
Great. Another question we've had a few times is regarding complimentary tickets and passes for teachers, chaperones, staff members. Will we be providing any complimentary tickets for that?
It's a very good question. So all the accompanying adults, so we have 2 to 5, 5 for the kindergartens and up to 4 for all the other age groups. Complimentary adults are allowed to join the school groups. All students of determination, their assistant is also free of charge. I did see a question about students. Student tickets are now free of charge as well. So these school trips are technically free of charge for all students and all accompanying adults within the ratios that we have provided, as well as students of determination and their assistants as well.
Thank you. And a few teachers asking for clarification on the PCR and vaccination situation. So asking, will all teachers, chaperones need to show proof of vaccination or a negative PCR test? And what about children? Is there an age range for children that need to show negative test results? So Huda, can I hand that question over to you?
Yes, of course, no problem. So yes, it has been announced that all visitors to the Expo site that are 18 years plus are required to show either their vaccine card or a negative PCR within 72 hours. As the school program, we are currently looking into the technicalities of that and what a school will be required to show. But all students under the age of 18 are not required any PCR tests. So it's only students and teachers who are 18 years of age and above to the Expo site. And we will communicate with you what is required as soon as we receive more instructions.
Great, thank you. Are there any specific resources that we can bring back to our lessons once students have had their visit to Expo 2020? And that question I will hand over to Huda.
So hi again. Yes, so as I mentioned earlier, there's actually a whole section on our website called Classroom Resources that has learning resources, digital resources. It has lots of things that you can use in your classroom with your students. If you're doing something very specific, you're also welcome to email us and we can see what we can do to help you. Lots of schools have a lot of Expo activities going on this year. It's very exciting. So we're really happy to support, but I'm hoping like we have so much stuff on our website that you should be able to find everything you need.
Great, and a few questions just asking for clarification again on the age range, the age of students that can come on the school visit. So is Expo going to be equipped to welcome kindergarteners? And what is the maximum age of school students that can come on the school visit? And I think that's going to be another Huda question.
Okay, so I will just answer the rest of the questions, Emma, if that's what you want. You guys can send some questions for others. It's okay. Anyways, yes, our programming on site is recommended for students in kindergarten to high school. So that would be about 4 years of age all the way to 18 years of age. Under 14 years of age are welcome, but it's not as recommended. It is a lot of walking. So if you feel like your group of students would be capable of doing that, you will be registering them anyways as an FS1. Pre-kindergarten, there's no section for them. So be kindergarten and up, which is usually FS2 in the British system, and you'll be able to book into the system all the way up to high school.
Thank you. A question here about Huda mentioned in the previous workshop that students will not be able to go off to buy their own food, their own lunch, their own snacks. A teacher's wondering if a senior student, phase 4, for example, insists that they leave their group to go off to a cafe, is it okay if they have the permission of their teacher to go and buy a drink or a snack? And I will hand that one over to Sarah this time.
Thank you, Emma. There's a question for me. So that's, again, a very good question. The recommendation, again, that we have from our side is that all students do bring their own lunch. Of course, if a student insists and the teachers are okay with it, they can go off and buy their own lunch. However, what this could do is this could significantly delay your school group because there will be really long lines at the F&B stalls that we have at Expo. And so just to avoid a school group being delayed on their journey to either enter another pavilion or to move on to their buses, we would highly recommend that school students are bringing their own lunch just so they're not spending 45 to 50 minutes having to look for an F&B vendor with a relatively shorter queue. So our recommendation will be do ask students to bring their own lunch, please.
Okay, can students attend multiple days? So can the same group of students come more than once to visit Expo? Kavisha?
Yes, we would love for students to come multiple times, come visit all 4 of our journeys. We have something very unique with each of our journeys. So definitely most welcome. We're looking forward to welcoming your students, bring them to our different journeys. The only thing is they need to do these journeys on different dates because it won't be possible for them to do this multiple journeys on the same day. So yes, they can do multiple journeys, but just on different days. So you need to choose different dates if the same group is willing to attend.
Okay, and is it possible to run school journeys on the weekend or is it weekdays only? Kavisha? Oh, sorry, maybe Huda can answer that question.
We can all answer that question. It's okay. Our school trips are actually only Sundays to Thursdays. We do not have any operations for a Saturday. If you do have a special request for a school day, that's a day that is not a school day, you're welcome to email us and we can look into it. But as per our regular journeys and everything, at the moment, they're only available from Sunday to Thursday during the school year. So also the winter holiday is not available. Again, if you do want to bring your school groups during the winter holiday, you can send us an email and we can look into it, but it's not guaranteed from anything.
Thank you, Huda. Another question is, do we need to book the allocated lunch spots that you mentioned, or will this be included as part of our journey? Sarah?
So for the younger students, for kindergarten and Cycle 1 or primary school students, we have dedicated seating areas already. So what happens is as soon as you make the booking, they've already been allocated a slot in that area, and that is something that they can access at a particular point in their journey at the Expo site. For the older students, again, we do reserve certain benches within the districts of Expo. These may be scattered around different areas of the Expo where they may also get to experience a little bit of programming, some entertainment while they're having lunch. So that is done automatically as soon as you make your booking for the Expo.
Thank you, Sarah. And a teacher asking for clarification on the face mask situation, who would like to know, are face masks required for FS1, FS2 and Year 1, as in school they are not required to wear face masks? Sarah, could you answer that question, please?
So for the Expo, the guidelines are that all children ages 6 and above do have to wear a face mask. Anyone under that age do not need to wear a face mask if that's the guidelines of your schools and your education entity. And as long as the teachers are keeping the schools, the students within their bubbles, or they're trying to keep them away from the other members of the public. However, this responsibility would be with the teachers themselves, but kids under the age of 6 do not need to wear the face mask to Expo.
Great. And I think, Sarah, this might be another question for you. Are we going to provide a site plan after the booking is confirmed, showing where things are such as emergency evacuation routes, washrooms, assembly points, and that kind of thing?
Okay. So in terms of a sitemap, we do have something that's currently available on the Expo 2020 website. It's a visitor map that you do have access to, and perhaps we can also link it in and send it later on to you. It is not something that we share upon the confirmation of a booking. Regarding evacuation routes, assembly points, our staff at Expo are very well trained with emergency evacuations, with assembly points, with evacuations if that's ever required. And so they will always be there to support and guide the school groups in the case of an emergency.
Thank you. Kavisha, I think we touched on this earlier slightly, but another teacher is just wanting clarification on their school's Expo coordinators. They want to change who they have listed as their Expo coordinators, and they'd just like to know, how do they go about doing this?
Thank you, Emma, for your question. So if you want to change your coordinator, just email us at schools@expo2020.ae with all the details, and we will ensure that the new coordinator receives their credentials from our side, and the old coordinator details are cancelled from our side. So we will do that. Just email us the details.
Thank you. And a question about the QR code on the paper to be put in the window of the school bus. Will that QR code guide us towards the correct entrance, or our schools already should already be aware of the correct entrance and that QR code is for something different? So what's the purpose of the QR code? Kavisha?
Very nice question. So In terms of the directions to Expo, the QR code will not do that. The QR code is more from an internal perspective. We need, in order to recognize this, that this is a school bus. As my colleague mentioned before, that we have a huge bus operations plan specifically for school buses coming to the Expo site. So the purpose of that QR code is for the operations and specifically to identify that this is a school bus. In order to get directions to the Expo, along with the confirmation of your booking, you will receive directions to Expo. Also on our website, there's a little navigation that says plan your visit, and under that there's something called as directions. And it shows you the 4 journeys and where to go in terms of the directions. So it's also available on our website.
Yes, I think Huda wants to add something.
I'm going to add a comment because I see a lot of questions coming in about the QR codes and the buses and how to group them and everything. Someone here has asked, Lavita, you've asked about 2 groups on the same bus with different timings. These are things that we've actually outlined in the coordinator handbook, and we touch upon, we go through them in a lot of detail in our coordinator sessions, because it's very important to understand the rules and restrictions coming into the Expo site with your QR code. If you're putting more than 1 group on a bus, they have to be on the same time at the same journey. Otherwise, you may not be allowed on into the Expo site. So there's a lot of security protocols with these QR codes and grouping more than 1 group in 1 bus. So if you have any questions about having anything other than 1 group in 1 bus, then please either reach out to us by email, because we have a lot of questions coming in, or you're welcome to attend one of our coordinator sessions, or we can contact you at any time and walk you through what your requirements are as a school, because it does get a little bit complicated, and it makes a lot more sense when we show it all up on slides as opposed to just trying to explain it to you right now in a Q&A panel. So I just wanted to make that note before we go on.
Thank you, Huda. And another question that seems to be popping up quite a lot is about capacity, booking capacity. Will there be more slots added? It seems that the 9 to 10:30 slots are almost booked, or is it a case of first come, first serve on the booking slots? Kavisha?
Thank you, Emma, for your question. At the moment, because we're practicing social distancing, and we want to give each group coming into the Expo site a very exquisite journey, if I may say that. That's why capacity, although we have huge capacity, we can welcome thousands of students every single day into the Expo site, but per time slot, slots are limited. So we recommend that you book as soon as possible. We will try to see a little later if we can increase the slots, but at the moment, the slots, what you see on the booking system, are the slots that have been allocated.
Thank you, Kavisha. The next question is about safety protocols. Is there anything that we can provide schools that they can share with parents when they send out their circulars? Sarah?
Thank you, Emma. That's an excellent question. We're just in the process of finalizing our safety protocols document, and inshallah that should be sent out to all of you very soon.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I think we've covered most of the questions now. We're still getting quite a lot of questions about how can we cancel bookings and rebook. I think you've already touched on that, Kavisha, but if you could just clarify one more time, because we're getting a few more comments about that.
So in terms of if your booking is still in reservation mode, which means you haven't received your tickets yet, there is an option on the booking system where you can go and click on edit to edit your booking. However, if the confirmation is done and you have received tickets for that particular booking, I request you to send us an email again at schools@expo2020.ae with just a few details about the booking that you want to cancel, and somebody from our team will reach out to you and help you cancel that booking and also help you rebook if required. So please do reach out to our team if the booking is already confirmed.
Thank you. Another question we have is about the chaperones accompanying the students on the school trips. So can non-teaching staff act as chaperones and accompany the students on school trips? Sarah, could you answer that one, please?
That is an excellent question. So for the accompanying adults that are coming with the school group, it can be a school staff member, it can be a parent, it can be any person that the school has nominated to be responsible for the school group when they are visiting. So it can be anyone other than a school member as well. However, they will be responsible for ensuring that their group stays together and that they help us, that they manage the group as well.
Thank you. And are students allowed to use their mobiles to take pictures and videos, or is that up to the teachers to decide if they want to allow their students to use their mobile phones? Can I hand that one over to you again, Sarah?
That's a really good one as well. We highly encourage for students to be taking pictures and videos of their experience. And we would love for them to do that as well. But again, there is a lot to see at the Expo site. So 100% we want them to take pictures and videos, but also to take in all of the exhibitions that they're going to and have a good time and really enjoy the Expo experience.
If a school wants to leave on the earlier side, if they've got a long distance to travel and they want to get back before the end of the school day, do they have the option of skipping the lunch break and leaving a little bit earlier, Sarah?
Okay, lots of questions for me now. I think I've gotten a few more than Huda. Absolutely, they do have the option of skipping the lunch break and leaving earlier. What we request is as soon as they arrive to the Expo site, please let them make sure that they are informing their tour guide that they would like to leave a little bit early. And in that case, we can facilitate their visit and help them kind of skip the lunch break and get onto their buses earlier.
And what happens if a school bus arrives late at Expo due to something like traffic or unforeseen circumstances? What should a teacher or school representative do in this situation? And again, Sarah, it's your lucky day. This is for you.
Okay, thanks, Emma. So in case the school bus is running late, we request for the teacher to call into our Expo call center to make sure that they inform us that the school is going to be delayed. From our end, we will try to make sure that it doesn't impact their journey too much and that they don't have to wait in the buses for too long and they get dropped off to the closest point at the Expo site, the entry point within the Expo site. However, again, we do request all school groups to arrive on their booked time slot so that they don't have any complications in terms of waiting to start their journey and there isn't any delay to that.
Thank you, Sarah. And how can students get their Expo 2020 passports? Huda, maybe you can help us with that one.
The Expo 2020 passports are now available actually on Amazon. And I think in a few retail outlets, I've just saw one the other day. They're absolutely beautiful. So if students want to bring their passports to be stamped, they're welcome to bring them with them. But they will need to keep them in their bags safely. I did see a question about lunches. So while I'm answering about bags to save you, Emma, so students are required to carry their lunches with them and their water bottles. So they're required to bring a small backpack that they can put their lunch, they can put their water bottle, and they can put that Expo passport if they do want to bring it with them to get stamped in their bags as well. So a light backpack that they'll be carrying around.
Great, and I think we just have a couple more questions left. Kavisha, if a school wants to book within 10 days or less of their visit. Is that okay, or would you recommend them booking further in advance than that?
Thank you, Emma. I always recommend please book in advance because as you see, a lot of questions that are coming through saying slots are going quicker. So please book in advance, but you can book 7 days in advance as well, if slots are available.
Another question about accompanying adults with the school groups. Do we need to confirm 48 hours prior to the visit or even before that who the accompanying adults will be? Do we need to provide specific details about who will be joining? Kavisha?
Yeah. Thank you, Emma. So again, these details are really important to us. We would love to know the details of the accompanying adult in case there's a situation and we need to call the teacher. We have these details handy with us. We have their mobile number. We have their email address. So please, as soon as you know that this teacher or accompanying adult is going to be with a particular group, please put in their details. But latest or the latest that you can put these details is 48 hours before the trip. But earlier the better, please.
Is there any flexibility in timing for the journeys? For example, if a school is very far away and they're finding it tricky to fit in the 4 hours within their school day, is there any flexibility to start earlier or leave earlier? Sarah, can I hand that over to you?
Okay. So the very first time slot that we have available for schools to book is 8:30 a.m. So if you would like for your group to come earlier, we would recommend that you book for the 8:30 a.m. time slot, and that way we can cater to your school group from the earlier time slots within the morning. If your group does want to leave early, they can just let their tour guide know. They will have the option of skipping lunch. If they're an older school group, so cycle 2 and cycle 3, they may also have the option of skipping a country pavilion. But if this is communicated with their tour guides as soon as they arrive to the expo site, we can definitely look into catering to them.
Great. And is it fine for us to film our students and take videos of them and put them up on our social media platforms? Huda, would that be okay?
That's very okay. So yes, we highly encourage, I mean, as long as your students are allowed to be photographed, and you have all your permission forms for parents to do that, then we don't mind at all. There is a lot of media and a lot of photography being taken at Expo site. So it is on our waiver forms that students have permission to be photographed. So as long as you have that permission, then yes, please. And always feel free to hashtag us, to tag us on our social media, on your social media, and we will actually repost it for you as well. We're very excited to see all of the students coming in to visit.
Yes.
So just to add on to Huda's point as well, we would love to have your students photographed. Just one thing to keep in mind, and please do communicate this with the teachers that are going to be visiting with your school groups, that they do need to socially distance. So even within this photo, we can't have them all crowded in one space. They would need to make sure that they are keeping ample distance between themselves for the group photos. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you. And we just have another question clarifying what is the maximum group of students we can bring in one group? Huda?
So the maximum number of students in one group is actually 25 students. This is for social distancing purposes. So I know a lot of schools have emailed us. I see one comment about 30 students in a group. So if you have 30 students in a group, you will be required to split them into 2 groups of 15. This is for social distancing protocols here at the Expo site, and in order to ensure safe and seamless school trips, as Sarah mentioned, and we've all mentioned, we have to ensure that the student numbers are between 15 and 25 students in a group. So if your school groups are larger than 25, then you're going to be required to split them. If they are less than 15, you may contact us and the call center will try to assist you with booking a lower number than 15, but we recommend a minimum of 15. And that is students only, sorry. So I did see also accompanying adults. The 25 is students only with a maximum of 4 accompanying adults. which does not include your driver. I did see a question earlier about the bus drivers. So the bus drivers will have a resting area separate from the school journeys. If you are bringing a bus nanny, then she will be considered one of your accompanying adults. So if you are using bus nannies, they will be part of your accompanying adults, but the driver has his own area to rest while he waits for you.
Okay, a question about virtual visits. Are virtual visits still happening? And if so, what's the process? Kavisha, do you have any information on virtual visits?
Thank you, Emma. A really good question. I'm very excited to share our virtual programs with you. There are a couple of actually virtual programs that we will be launching in the next few days, and they're very exciting. So we will be launching, and you will be seeing this information on our website. We're soon going to be launching a page that's called Virtual Explorations. So it's not just one platform that we have to offer, but we have a couple of programs within our virtual world that you will be able to see, and these details will be shared with you shortly and also will be available on our website.
Thank you, Kavisha. And the next question is about waiver and consent forms. Will Expo be providing these to schools, or are schools expected to provide their own Huda?
So yes, Expo 2020 will be providing the coordinators with a copy of the consent forms that parents sign. Many schools have requested to use their own, which is fine. You're welcome to use your own. Just make sure that all of the important points are on there. I see a question about consent for social media as well. So your teacher, the accompanying adults, are the ones who are responsible for ensuring if students are not allowed to be photographed, that they do not get photographed. So you will always have the permission of your group before getting photographed. There may be other people in public, but we try our best. The tour guides are there. You just inform the tour guide who is not allowed to be photographed, and we will do our best to do that. But this is the responsibility of the accompanying adults from your school. So if any child is not allowed to be on social media, then that is your school's responsibility. And that is included in your waiver forms as well. So hence the reason that we do prefer the Expo one. You do not need to submit it to Expo. This is for your own reference. So that you can keep it, because the principals have signed a document to say to Expo that we have received all permission forms from parents, before they come to the Expo 2020 site.
Thank you, Huda. Another question about the QR code to access the site. Is it possible for parent helpers of early years students to travel in their own cars using the QR code, as they're not allowed on the school buses as per guidelines? And I'll hand that one over to Sarah.
Thank you very much, Emma. So it is not allowed for parents to travel in their own cars and join the school group at the Expo site. If these parents are coming with the school group, we do mandate that they come as part of the school group in the school buses along with the students. Please ensure that all of your parents and all accompanying adults are notified that we do not allow for any adults to come in their own vehicles and to join the school group at the Expo site.
Thank you. And I think this is our final question. Could we just give an overview of which trips would be recommended for which age groups? So which would be great for primary and which would be great for secondary? And Huda, that's for you, please.
It's a trick question, as I always say, because we have actually catered every single one of these 4 journeys for all age groups. So if a kindergarten student or a cycle 3 student or a high school student is going on a specific trip, they're obviously not getting the same trip. So what I usually recommend to coordinators and teachers is to see what you're actually learning in school. You know, try to link it to the curriculums, try to link it to your subjects. If you're studying about history and explorers, then the mobility journeys are quite fascinating and part of that. If you're learning about sustainability, then obviously the sustainability journey. Try to link it to what your class is actually doing as opposed to age groups, because in the age groups, we have catered all 4 journeys for all age groups. I did see a question as well about selecting the countries, which is a big question that we get about, can we choose which countries we go to? Now, when you look on the journey packs and when you look on the website, you'll see which countries are actually associated. I showed you some sneak peeks in my earlier talk today when I took you through the journeys, and I mentioned some of the countries. So there are many, many countries within each district, but not all countries have programming for students, and not all countries have programming that is suitable for different age groups. So this is why we cater it, and we actually have our tour guide knows which countries and which pavilions they can go to that is best suited for the group that they have according to their age. So I don't think there's any more questions at this time. I did see a question about souvenirs. Yes, the children will get to keep their lanyards. So each one of the 4 different journeys has a different colored lanyard. So we're encouraging children to collect all 4 lanyards. Yes, they can come multiple times. We had this question earlier. We're encouraging students to experience as many of these different journeys as possible, for the main reason that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This is only a 6-month event. It's not coming back again to Dubai. It will be once in a lifetime for most of these students that they won't be able to visit again. So if I'm not mistaken, Emma, I think that's most of the questions. If we missed your question, if you have any further questions after this session, please feel free to email us at schools@expo2020.ae. I did see that somebody had a problem with the website. Just make sure you put HTTP before it. So schools.expo2020dubai.com is the website. It should work. If there's any problems with your login details, we saw lots of different questions coming with that. Call the 800 Expo number. They will support you on the spot, specifically with your own credentials, and help support you immediately so that you can get it all sorted. So yes, I think that's it for today. So thank you very much to everybody for joining us, and thank you.
Thank you, Heda. That brings us to the end of our session today. Thank you all very much for attending, and we look forward to seeing you very soon.
Bye, everybody.
Follow me. One voice, one family. The world as it stands in the palm of our hands, it's our time.
Oh, take a seat to the greatest show you'll ever see. We've come so far, but the future is ours to decide what we need.
We've got to all come together.
Let's join our voice. It's now or never. We are the next generation to try for a new day. This is our time. Unlock it now. This is the moment we have to decide. It's time to stand up and vow
To be what the world needs now.
this is our time. Unlock it now.
This is the moment we open our eyes.
If we can dare to believe, wake up to find this day.
This is our time.
يا هلا بالكل بحبكم نكمل.
نيتنا وهمتنا نجدد قصتنا ونكمل.
نتأمل والكون يلهمنا أن نعمل ونعيش اليوم الفكرة ونشوفها بكرة مستقبل.
ابدع لا تسأل عن أي حدود، قادر تتخيل بأفكارك جود.
هذا احنا جيل العالم موجود قدها وجدود. This is our time. Unlock it now. This is the moment we have to decide.
It's time to stand up and fight. بأفكارك